War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Our greatest enemy has infiltrated the financial community, the corporate community, the political apparatus, our cultural institutions. Everything's been infiltrated by CCP, Chinese Communist Party, cash money and influence peddling. And now we have a CCP virus that's essentially ripped our economy apart and killed over 200,000 of our fellow citizens. We're not apologists for Russia. It's run by the KGB. It's a kleptocracy. They're bad guys, got nuclear weapons, and they're always trying to cause trouble. The CCP is an existential threat. It's probably the greatest enemy we've ever had with the greatest number of resources, and we've allowed them to infiltrate. Unrestricted Warfare was published in 1999. They laid out the entire war plan 20-some years ago of economic warfare, technology warfare, information warfare, and potentially kinetic warfare in the South China Sea and up there on the border of Chinese-occupied Tibet with our Indian allies. So this is not, has been hiding in plain sight. And the intelligence apparatus should have been on this, but they willfully looked the other way, and they built Russia up to be 10 feet tall. Russia's not 10 feet tall. It's in a demographic death spiral. It doesn't make one product in the world in technology anybody wants. It's got some natural resources that, guess what? Our German allies are in business with them on natural gas and others, right? It's a sideshow, and Ukraine's a sideshow to a sideshow. The main event, the main thing is the Chinese Communist Party.
The way that we treated the Soviet Union in the 1980s and the 1970s has to be the way we treat the CCP now. I think we have to treat them like the Soviet Union. I'm going to repeat something I said last week from an article in the New York Times. Trump is wrong about TikTok. China's plans are much more sinister, written by Yi Zhenglian, the former Hong Kong Economic Journal chief editor. And he writes, I quote, since China adopted the National Intelligence Law in June 2017, all Chinese citizens and companies have been under legal obligation to help the government gather intelligence and keep that cooperation secret. The law allows China's intelligence services to embed their people and devices or to requisition facilities in any premise, anywhere for that purpose. And this goes back, and I'm reminding again our Vietnam guys, right? You remember the three-man cells in South Vietnam? The Constitution of the Chinese Communist Party also essentially requires any company with at least 3 Communist Party members to form a cell tasked with carrying out the party's wishes. This is right from Mao's Little Red Book, people. And I think, in my opinion, I may not have the agreement with everybody on this at this table, but I think it's high time that we limit the number of mainland Chinese students who can study in North America. Think about it. We did not have 300,000 Soviet students studying here during the Cold War.
I think what we have to do. We're going to have the new federal state on at the bottom of the hour, but I think what we got to do is really drill down on how the CCP is using these students as intelligence asset. It's not the students' fault, but I think you're right. These agreements they have to sign, and we got to drill down on this. If they actually sign these agreements, they got to go back to some sort of handler every month. It all has to be questioned. We're going to have the new federal state on the bottom of the hour that the intelligence community has had on China. This is a disgrace, and it's not a small thing. It is the main thing. We have an enemy that's an existential threat to the world, to all mankind. Dr. Yan is on the Week magazine in a cover story. We're going to talk about more about that tomorrow when we have time, but she's got the cover of the Week magazine, an amazing interview, right, where she talks about the biological weapons program coming out of these labs in mainland China. The Chinese Communist Party is an existential threat to mankind, and particularly to the leader of the free world, the United States of America. Our intelligence apparatus has been asleep at the switch for 25 years. It's unacceptable, and heads have to be on pikes, starting with Brennan and these corrupt SOBs are in the Obama administration. It's a total disgrace, and it's completely a disgrace how they tried to shift everything to Russia, which is an economy the size of New York State in a demographic death spiral. That is, yes, they're bad guys, plenty of nuclear weapons, run by a kleptocracy, run by the KGB, but it's marginalia, as I said from day one. So Stephen K. Bannon and the rest of the China Hammer posse was right. All of you other guys were wrong.
Tomorrow.
The new song by Milesguo, Dear Mama, I'm taking down the CCP. Enjoy.
Over and over and over again. So I'm putting up a fight to protect my family. Let's take down the CCP. They might have made a virus, but the virus is them screaming no more death. Cause together we stand, it's just you and me. It's just you and me. Taking down the CCP. They might have took our parents, but they can't take our hearts. Cause the love we have shines so bright in the dark. It's just you and me. It's just you and me. Taking down the CCP.
Mama, 我们的哭泣一直感动了天地，感动了天地。妈妈，我们的哭泣一直感动了天地，感动了天地。
Hey, son, I got a million things I wish I could have said to you, but I'll start with I'm so proud.
Jack, you.
Yeah, you're doing the things that should have been done a long time ago. And I know, and I know, and I know